Hey guys, Sandy here, and I'm back with my Citrus Twist kit for the month of November. And I'm scrapbooking these 4 small photos. Now these are photos of a rental car that was very damaged when we picked it up, so we took photos of it. I'm going to use this sketch from from Sketches in Time, and it was made by Brinshivia. I hope I'm saying that right. And it just went away. There we go. So it does have 3 photos for this sketch. I'm going to use 4. So let's see what I can do.
So the first thing I'm going to do is take off my bracelets and roll up my sleeves, and I am getting ready to scrapbook. I decide to mount these photos on some of this basil cardstock that came in the kit. I believe it's basil. And while I'm doing this, I notice that the photos are not the exact same size. So I'm like, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of that, and I don't make you watch me trim the photos, so you're welcome. And then I'm using this scrap of paper that I have, and I'm just going to kind of layer it there. That's really layering it, like I'm really going to layer it there. And I definitely want that big block of navy showing a little bit more than the other colors that are there. I'm going to use the pink as an accent color later on, but I want the navy because I really like navy and teal together. So I'm just looking around for some paper, and I grabbed this little yellow butterfly paper because I'm thinking about just using the yellow and kind of covering up those butterflies because, as you know, I'm not a huge fan of butterflies on scrapbooking products. And that is in that gossamer blue pile of papers that I have just sitting on my desk. I decide, nope, I'm not going to do it. Now I pull out this Chamel paper, and I was actually saving this paper for a background, but I decided I did not need to do that because I have a sheet of it already in my stash, so there was no sense of me saving this one for a full 12 by 12 sheet. What I decided to do was cut off the very bottom where it's the darkest and then the very top where it's the lightest, so I still have that ombre effect, but not going from like white to the dark color. And I'm just trying to figure out how I want this to layer up. And I decide that I like it with this on top, but I like that little bit of the blue Stargazer paper poking out from there. So I just cut off a little edge so I can fake it. Now, if I would have picked out this dot ombre paper before I had cut that blue speckled paper, I wouldn't have had to fake it. I could have just had it all the way across the page, but I didn't think about it ahead of time, so it is what it is. And I'm just lining that up. I'm just using the circles on that paper as a guide. And then I'm going to try to figure out where exactly I want this to layer. Like, do I want it to cover up all that speckled paper? And then I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should just try doing it this way. And I don't like that either. And I'm just trying it out and moving my papers around to see where I want it to go. And I decide I like it in the original position the best, and I'm just going to plop it down there like that. And I am super happy with the way that is. Apparently I wasn't that super happy with it because I decided to move it up one more time to see if I needed it. Now I decided that I'm going to use this paper as a scallop again. I gotta say, I probably should come up with something new to do with this paper besides cut it into scallops, but I really like it and I like the look of it, so I might not. I might just end up using this paper all for cutting out scallops unless I end up using the striped color on the other side. And it doesn't take me that long at all to cut that because I'm keeping my scissors still. I'm just opening and closing them and then using my other hand to move the paper. And I just get that tucked under there, and I'm happy with that. Now, I had known all along that this was going to be a not-so-rad ride for my title, so because I don't really use rad a lot in my everyday vernacular, like it's just not something that I use a lot. or any of the people I hang out with use a lot. I do know that there are pockets of people everywhere that use it, and that's awesome, but it's just not a word that we use, so I figured I would use some alliteration with rad ride, because then I would actually be able to use that glitter thicker. And I'm not exactly sure which letters I'm going to make out ride with, but I'm not worried about that, obviously. I'm worried about embellishing a little bit. And I'm thinking I'm going to tuck that in right under that R, but it does not stay there. It's actually going to move over to the right-hand side. And I decide to cut off this little bit of the cut apart that says check this out. And that arrow is going to be pointing to the cars. And you might not even be able to see all the damage in the photos through the video. But this car was banged up. I mean, every side of it, the front, the back, the sides, I mean, it was banged up. It was a hot mess. And we were like, are you kidding me? We asked for a paper to mark it, and you know, when you rent a rental car, you usually get a paper or something where you can write down the damage that is on the car when you pick it up, so that when you return it, you aren't held liable for that damage. Well, the agent where we picked up the rental car was like, take a picture, it's going to be time stamped. So when you get to the destination, because we picked it up in one state and dropped it off in another, he was like, it's not going to be a problem. We were like, are you sure? And he said, yeah, definitely. Well, when we dropped it off, they were like, look at all this damage. You don't have a damage waiver, blah, blah, blah. And we were like, dude told us to take pictures. And I had the pictures and the timestamps and everything. And it was an issue. Like, it turned out to be an issue. And there was nothing, you know, it was kind of like, oh my word, we're going to be held liable for all this damage. But finally, they just listened to us because we were standing firm. We were like, we have this proof. Your agent up in New York told us that this was the way they did it, and they had to get a manager and a manager's manager, but finally they were like, okay, you can go. I mean, darn, that was definitely some sort of adventure. Not one that I really wanted to have, but one that we did have nevertheless. Now, I went ahead and pulled off the rest of the thicker backing on the word rad. And it's just amazing to me that American Crafts thickers, I'm amazed by them, okay? The chipboard thickers won't stick. They just won't. The foam stickers won't stop sticking. Like, get it together. Can't you, like, have a marriage in the middle where you finally get some adhesive that just sticks beautifully for both? Drives me insane. So I'm just using some Tombow Mono multi liquid glue, and I just use the pen tip, and I find that if I just tap it a little bit and don't really squeeze super hard, I can get a small amount to come out. Now, I keep seeing everybody with their fine line bottles and everything like that, and I just don't know. Don't know if I don't want to deal with it, or I'm just too lazy because I don't want to move one glue from one bottle into another bottle. Like, who knows why I don't want to do it, but right now I'm not interested in a fine line bottle because I use my ATG for just about everything, and this liquid glue I can use, it's like I can get out fine little bits out of it, so I'm good with it. Now, this little guy over here, it says, note to self, a bad day. I thought I was going to move him around. I was worried that my title was going to get too wordy. Like, there was going to be so many words over there, you didn't know exactly what the title was supposed to be. But it does end up going back over there, and honestly, if you read not so rad, note to self, a bad day ride, I'm okay with it. It's almost like a parentheses. So it's like not so rad, in parentheses, note to self, this was a bad day ride. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but it works for me, so I'm good with it. And then I'm just up here messing around. I really thought I was going to use this yellow banner, but it doesn't make it onto the page. It ends up going back onto the chipboard, but the little pink heart does come out. because I decided to put pink in 3 little areas. And the ride are thickers as well, as you can tell from my little mini rant I had, and they are New Day thickers. And these thickers came in last month's Citrus Twist kit. And I always find it wonderful if I can bring in some previous month's items on a current month's kit, especially letter stickers. Because there weren't any letters in this kit, it was just the word thickers, which is perfect. Like, that's totally awesome because believe you me, I have tons of letter stickers. So it's great when I can use my older stuff in with the newer stuff. And I say older, and it was only last month's. Now, there's a couple times on here that I really wasn't paying attention to where my layout was. This is one of them because it's pretty high up there. And I had actually cut out some video where all you see is the top of my head. Like, my head is all over the page. You can't even see what I'm doing. So instead of having you look at the top of the head and find the little grays that are popping up there, because boy did I have fun finding them, I'm not going to make you guys do that. Now, the sketch had a tag, I believe, over on the on the top of the photos, but I decided to move my tag to the left-hand side here and just put a little bit of twine through there, and that's a gray and white twine, and it's probably one of my favorite ones. And the sketch also had some circles behind the photo and the papers, but I decided not to do circles, and you'll see what I decided to do instead. Now, I really wanted to use some of these letter words, like these bold letter words. What are they? Pink Fresh phrase stickers. I really wanted to use some of them because they had some great ones, like some great things on here, like ugh and meh and come on, and you know, those would be great for this page because I'm looking and scrapbooking about this horrible car that we had. And only one makes it on the page. Only the come on makes it on the page. And I'm okay with that because I'm going to have a companion page to this one where it's going to have like the rental agreement and all that kind of stuff in kind of a pocket, so I figure I can use those on that companion page. Now, this is what I decide to do instead of doing those kind of messy circles. I decide to cut out strips and put my journaling on that. And I am not usually a put my journaling on strips kind of girl, but this time I went for it, and I like the way it turned out. I really do. So here's one that is finished. If you liked it, go ahead, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, go ahead, hit that button. Then you won't miss any videos. And if you want to talk to me, go ahead and leave me a comment. I will see you guys next time.